Okay, so what to do if one of your teammates comes to you, the Scrum Master or Agile coach, and asks you, "What is the point of the sprint review?" And we don't seem to get any value out of it. So what's the point? So this is what you might say. So the first thing I could do is to point out the areas, the common mistakes where the sprint review goes wrong and is not actually that valuable. So the first thing, I've seen a lot of sprint reviews just used to demo and present the latest increment, and that's it. So they miss a lot of the value of the review by not having the feedback and discussion and prioritization. The representative stakeholders might not be present, so people who are actually going to be affected by any changes to that increment are not there to give feedback. Teams might overcommit, not be able to deliver on that increment to their best ability. There might be unsustainable dev practices like a build-up of tech debt or bugs in the software, and there might be changes to priorities or scope creep during the sprint, which makes it very difficult for the team to create their increment effectively. So if any of those things are happening, I'd recommend they're addressed and actions created in the retrospective to allow the team to be more effective at creating their product increments. So why is the sprint review actually important? Well, it is the single greatest opportunity to inspect and adapt that the team has in a Scrum. So they're there to inspect the increment of value created by the team, obviously, so the product increment, the working product increment. They're also there to inspect their progress towards the product goals and any changes in the environment internally or externally. So for example, maybe there's a change in teams or a change in the team's output, or there's a market change. And lastly, the adaptation part comes in where the team can decide with the product owner what's to be prioritized or changed in the backlog next. Of course, always a good opportunity to celebrate the work done by the team as well and increase their understanding of challenges they're facing and of each other and effectiveness. Right, so let's give a concrete example of the sprint review process. So imagine your game studio is working on a puzzle game, and during this last sprint, they've created a tool that automatically generates and deploys levels to the game. During the sprint review, it's noticed that some of the levels created by the tool are just too easy and not that enjoyable. The team also inspects their progress towards product goal and notice that the automation of the levels is tracking well, and they'll soon be able to reallocate some of the level designers to more interesting things, basically. However, the team has not made any progress or headway on one of the product goals they have, which is creating an augmented reality mini game within the game. This is like an opportunity space that they've been wanting to break for a while, enter for a while. And lastly, a competitor has recently released an augmented reality mini game, and we know we can do it better. The team knows they can do it better. So rightfully so, the designers during the sprint review also start to ask, well, what are we going to do now that we've got more spare time? We're not manually creating as many levels as we used to. So the team and the product owner change the backlog as such. So the first thing they do is they add a feature to be developed by the team in the next sprint to automatically test the difficulty of the levels to make sure that any levels that are too easy are just not even bothered testing. That's going to be a waste of time. So that's the first thing. And the next thing they do, the product owner prioritizes then the prototyping of the new augmented reality mini game, such that half of the level design team go away and work on that, and then the other half of level designers stay on board to help transition away from manual level creation to using the automatic level tool and completing that tool with the development team. So that's a concrete example of how a sprint review could be used to inspect and adapt and hopefully meet any new market opportunities.